Yes, everybody, what's going on? Good morning. How's it going? Are you all having a wonderful day? We're going to talk about some transfers today. We're going to talk about some other stuff today. And we'll see how it gets going. Is everyone happy days? We're going to talk about Rasmus Hojlund. There's been some talk that the interest in Harry Kane is looking to cool down. Rasmus Hojlund appears to be someone that is a bit of a candidate and available, not at a bad price, in all honesty. Daniel Levy doing Daniel Levy things probably means that Kane becomes a little bit different. We're going to talk about Rasmus Højlund. We're going to talk about Mount. We're going to talk about Henderson. And we might even touch on a couple more in the mixer as well. But get your questions in and we'll talk about anything. And we can take it off-road if we have to. What's going on with Shaw Tyre? I don't know, but he didn't have a great loan spell, and that's probably going to play into whatever happens next, I presume. So Rasmus Højlund, what's going on? According to the Daily Mirror, Højlund is quickly emerging as a leading candidate, and he's going to be available for around £40 million. And United are stepping up their interest. So one to keep an eye on with the Kane news. That Kane looks a little bit difficult to do because Daniel Levy is a fucking nightmare to deal with. Can you imagine having to go and speak? Can you imagine buying a used car from Daniel Levy? Forget it. So that's the script. Rasmus Højlund looks like could be one of the main ones. We did a video over the weekend, I think it might have been, looking at Højlund and why United probably want him, what he can offer, and how he would play for us. So if you've not seen that, go check that one out. Mason Mount. Romano says that Chelsea are creating the biggest issue for United at the moment. They won't accept less than 70 million for Mount, and they don't want to negotiate for him. It's 70 million or nothing. Lavia, which is a Spanish news outlet, says United are the favourites to sign Mount. The player definitively rejected Liverpool a few weeks ago. It is not closed, but it's on track for the Englishman to play there next season. Now, I think I said this to you guys a few weeks back, but the thing that I'd heard was Mason Mount to Liverpool. Now, this was maybe a month ago, something like that. So it looks like, A, that was legit, but B, it is no longer happening. So that's the case. Now, Mount at 55, 50, 60 million, something like that, I wouldn't have a problem with him. But 70 million just feels like a price that we would be overpaying at, for me. It does feel like a price that we'd be overpaying. And I think it's so early in the window. There's a lot left to run in this. Chelsea are going to need to raise funds because they're going to go and sell, of course. I don't know what the script is with FFP with them guys at the moment. But the fact that he's only on 12-month contract remaining, he can't be 70 million. And I think that's the poker game that United have got to play. If there's not many other suitors for him and he won't play for them, then what United need to do is just say, well, we can wait. We'll take him on a free next season rather than pay you 70 right now. Or you can get a little something for him now. Or maybe we'll see you again in January where 70 million soon becomes 25 million, doesn't it? So I think United have got to play a little bit of a waiting game on this one and just see it out. 70 million feels a bit cheeky. You might even end up dealing at 70 million. Maybe they put add-ons in that get it up to 70 million. But 70 million straight out, I don't think United are going to entertain that. Højlund being a bit cheaper, though, might free up some cash if you're not going to go for Osimhen, which has gone quiet, or Harry Kane, which seems to be... well, it's just Daniel Levy things in it. So do you want to negotiate with Daniel Levy? No, you don't. Dean Henderson. Nottingham Forest are in advanced. It's in advanced in all capitals, so you know it's serious. Talks with United for signing Dean Henderson. And according to Mail Sport, they have a deal in place for Dean Henderson. Now, they was talking around about £30 million coming in for Dean Henderson, which honestly kind of makes sense, but also kind of is a little bit dear, but also kind of nice one because I reckon United are going to have to raise, and probably could raise, somewhere in the region of £100 million in transfer fees coming in with some of the players that are going out. So we obviously don't know any of the players that are going out yet. You can assume Harry Maguire's going to be going out. It's so kind of like, yeah, he's going to go. We have no idea where he's going to go. There is not a clue which club's going to be taking him, but we all kind of go, oh, he's just going, isn't he? We all know he's going. And not only that, United might have to pay 10 million to be able to get him off the books as well. And in which case, we'll sign that shit. We got Moise Caicedo and Romeo Lavia then. So, according to the Mail Sport, Manchester United admire Caicedo and Lavia, and Southampton are likely to demand upwards of 40 million for their midfielder, for Lavia. So, Manchester City have a first refusal on him. I think a lot of people are confused in what a first refusal is, because when we spoke about Lavia last time, there's a lot of people saying Manchester City won't make it, let it happen. And Manchester City don't have a fucking choice. All that a first refusal does is when a bid comes in, he goes, hey, United have also bid. That's it. That's all they have to do is notify someone of a bid. So if the player decides he's going to United, then that's it. It doesn't matter what the opposition bid. They just have to have the opportunity to bid. They sold him to Southampton. He wasn't on loan. He was a player that they own and they get to do with whatever they want. Their obligation to Manchester City is just to tell them if someone else bids. And that's it. Now, that's it. In terms of Caicedo, now I think he's a hell of a footballer. I think he's box to box, all action, genuine quality with a very, very, very high ceiling. Might even be world-class ceiling. It seems like Chelsea are in the mix for him because I think everyone looks at that Chelsea squad and goes, well, they don't have enough midfielders. But I think he would be a massive asset at Manchester United. And to me, he would make more sense than Mount. If it was the same price, it was whatever, all circumstances the same, I would take Caicedo. Because when I look at Mount, I go, I sort of see where he would probably play. But it feels like United needs someone that's a bit more box to box. And for me, that's Caicedo. It's Jude Bellingham, but we're not getting Jude Bellingham, right? But realistically, Caicedo looks like the gettable version of Jude Bellingham. So I would go with that. Get that. You put that in alongside Casemiro in midfield. Fuck me, you got a right midfield there. Now, actually, Mount, Casemiro, Bruno, that might be the tool that you want to play when you're coming up against a team that's going to sit back and get you on a low block. But most of the games, and the big games, and the games that United have struggled in, someone like a Moise Caicedo makes the fucking difference. Imagine Moise Caicedo instead of Eriksen that last weekend at Wembley, playing against Manchester City. Different game. Different game. And that's what Manchester United need to do. What comes in and goes, boom, this is different now. Because if they're not doing that, what the fuck are we doing? Mikey says, Rabiot. Don't rule that one out. I think there's definitely something in Rabiot and his mum joining United. And Rabiot, quite like. There's a lot of things to like about Rabiot. Does come across a bit of a bell end. But dealing with his mum, that sends shivers up the PP, that I think. Damien says, we need an 8 and a 6. Bruno needs a rest and Eriksen's too lightweight and doesn't run around enough, defensively weak. Well, Eriksen can certainly still play 25, 30 games a season. I don't have a drama with that. And he brings in a serious amount of quality. But I agree with you. And that's why I'd say Caicedo. He basically plays the same position we'd be asking him to play. There's not really, like, you don't need to say sort of adapt him. Where does Mount fit into this current 11 of United? He's not going to send Bruno out of the team. Unless we're going to see Bruno become the box-to-box number 8 and Mount slots in as like a genuine 10 in front of him. Is that going to work? Because, look, defensively Mount's got a lot to like, but him and Bruno are not big boys. You're asking to get bullied a little bit in midfield there, I think, physically. Reece says, do I think Brighton would take McTominay and 50 million for Caicedo? Maybe, you know. Maybe. Ben says, was I surprised by how much the game passed Eriksen by at the weekend? Not really. Because if you saw the Brighton game, you kind of thought that was exactly how it was going to go down. But also, you would pay him. You would play him, sorry. Journey of James says, Maguire plus 30 million for Mount. I don't think Chelsea would have that, in all honesty. If Chelsea wanted Maguire, I'd be shocked. Shocked. Tom says De Zerbi ain't taking McTominay. Yeah, you're probably right there. Adam says Rice over Mount. Right, yeah, same drill. If the money was the same, yeah, I'd pay 60, 70 million for Rice. I wouldn't pay 120 million for him. He is not 120 million pound a midfielder. He's 60, 70 million pound midfielder. Fine. Absolutely fine. But not 120. 120, I want Bellingham or go fuck yourself. That's what I want. That's the only thing I'm willing to entertain. There's not many players that I would happily see Manchester United pay 120 million for. And for anyone that's about to comment, it's not our fucking money, Steve. No, I know it's not our fucking money. Jesus Christ, right? But there are realities to Manchester United's financial situation. If we was going to spend 120 million on 5 players, yeah, let's fucking steam in there and just start blasting the cash around. But are we going to do that? What fucking video game are you playing if you think that we're going to do it? We're not doing that. We ain't doing that. So if you spend 120 million pounds, right, it's fucking beans for the next month. That's it. We aren't buying anybody else. What was that? You want a new toy? Well, you shouldn't have fucking thought about that when you had the 120 million pound striker, shouldn't you? No, eat your fucking beans, right? That's how it's going. Ain't no chicken tonight. It's fucking beans. Toast if you're lucky. Or it'll be dry toast because we ain't got any money for butter. Martin saying Liverpool giving it the big one over McAllister when Mount is Korea. I don't know what that means. And we don't even want him. Yeah, I saw that apparently McAllister rejected United. I didn't even see a single, even a rag, linking McAllister to United. Would I have taken him? Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I think he's an excellent signing for Liverpool. That doesn't mean he rejected United. Here's the truth, though. Mason Mount rejected Liverpool. Make of that what you will. So was McAllister a second choice behind Mount, who rejected you? Lewis says, Steve, I think we're going to have to suck it up and accept we won't compete properly until Pep goes. Does Pep go? We've never seen anybody leave the evil empire when they wanted to keep him. I think he might have to retire. I don't know if he does go. Lee says, just like Gakpo rejected United, apparently. Listen, right? There were links linking Gakpo to United. Do you know when those links stopped? When United signed Anthony. United was clearly lining Gakpo up as a backup to Anthony. Why do you think we didn't sign him in the summer? It was on. United signed Anthony, and then, now we don't want Gakpo. Why? It was going for fucking peanuts. Of course we would have took him if we wanted him. Then he signs for Liverpool in January. Yeah, we didn't want you, mate. You was our second choice. There you go. Ajaz says, if Pep came to United in 2016 instead of Jose, how do you think United would have done up until now? He would have been sacked. He might have lasted a year longer than Jose, but he would have got sacked. He would have done, right? Do you see how much the guy lost his fucking napper? He was, look, he's a very, very good manager. One of the best. But he's had so many privileges at Manchester City. When have Manchester United been able to sign a player and replace him the next window? We're still dealing with players Fergie signed. Sir Alex Ferguson. 10 years ago he walked out of that door. We're still playing with his fucking players and only one of them has just got off the books last week. There was no way that if Pep came into United and he's got fucking Chris Smalling at centre-half, that his head doesn't completely implode. Now, Daley Blind he might have been able to fuck with. But he wouldn't have gotten all of the toys that he's had at Manchester City. You got to remember, City try and play down like the team that he walked into. The team he walked into factually had Vincent Kompany, Aguero, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Yaya Toure, and many, many more. And then he added all sorts of shit to it like that. All sorts of shit to that. If Pep Guardiola came to Manchester United in 2016 and he's got to try and fucking play out the back with Chris Smalling, who's then trying to find Fellaini on the turn, No. At all. No. He wouldn't have been given the resources. He might have been able to spend big, and he might have brought in some players, maybe. We don't know. We don't, because at the moment it's Tixi Bajirstein that's doing all the buying for Manchester City. They was doing the buying before Pep came, and I think they're still doing the buying, right? When you see the players like Laporte that he gets to buy and then bench, and then Diaz bench him for John Stones. John Stones playing excellent football at the moment. The guy was a forgotten man for 2 years as a £50 million centre half, fucking 6 years ago or something. So. No, he would have been absolutely fucking bombed out of there with a quickness. Doesn't matter what he's done before. The realities of being at Manchester United just wouldn't have been fucking on it. No. Pep would have lasted a couple of years. Yeah. Alex says, worst signing Ferguson made was David Moyes. Danny says Pep would have had a similar trajectory that Van Gaal had. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe less boring. Maybe less boring, but not for sure. Ray with a super chat there says, facts, Stephen. Jarzinho says, aren't Caicedo, Ferguson and Bellingham all evidence of United's not fit for purpose scouting and recruitment team? Do you know what? Yeah. They all could have been done very cheap, very early, but you know. Keyboard Warriors says, I have a good feeling on that Ange fella at Spurs. A good feeling for who? For United? Look, Ange Postologlu, say it wrong. He's got a really good record, and not just at Celtic. Make your own jokes on that one, but everybody, John Barnes included, has got Postecoglou, a good record at either Rangers or Celtic. It's not necessarily a good indicator of what you're going to do when you come south of the border, unfortunately. So you got to look at what he did. Was it Greece and Australia that he managed? He does have some interesting records there. So I think it remains to be seen, but they've been rejected by some fucking ordinary managers. It is going to be very, very, very interesting in terms of this. Mark says, any takeover news? Fuck all, mate. Any predictions for Paddock pre-season games? For the football team's pre-season games, or for the pre-season games that we're attending? Which one's he on about? We are coming to Dublin, by the way. Stratford Paddock FC are coming to Dublin for a game on the 5th of August. Just need to finalise all the details before we announce who it is that we're coming over to play. And if it doesn't get sorted, we'll just go on the piss for a day and get after it. But yeah, we're coming on the 5th of August to come. Oh, our team, Paddock. Well, we're playing Duckingfield, who we've never beat. We're playing North Walton, who we had a really good rivalry with when we was in the Lancashire and Cheshire League. Very honoured to be managing against Droylsden for Droylsden's return to football. The first game back at the Butcher's Arms in 3 years that they've played. And we actually played the last game that was at the Butcher's Arms, but very happy with that. We're playing Upton, who won our league this year. And we are playing Sandbach, who I don't really know a lot about. And that's it, I think. Do I think the Glazers will be here at the start of next season? Don't know. No, I'm not going to Oslo. Notch, are all the Paddock FC pre-season games daytime kickoffs? No, there's a midweek game. I think Sandbach is a midweek Wednesday night. Any news on the app for Paddock? Yes. So, for those that were interested in what's going on with the app, and there's been a ton of delays, we will get Callan, who's made the app, to do a video with us. I'm hoping this week or next week. So one of the dramas that we had is Callan's Apple developer license was revoked by Apple because they thought he was stealing our copyright. So I had to write a letter. I actually own the trademark to Stretford Paddock. So I had to write a letter send in the trademark, all of the information, the details, show all that sort of stuff. They have reinstated him. It is going for its final approvals in the App Store. So fingers crossed, it's passed all of the developer checks. It's now just, hopefully it finishes on the licensing stuff, and then we are sorted. Jobs are good. So that's where we're at in terms of the app. I can't really complain because Callan's been doing it free. Callan's a junior developer at an agency, and he's like, I'm always only going to be a junior developer unless I do some work that elevates it above that. So he's done it for free. It's taken a long time, but can't argue when he's done it for free. But hopefully it'll be out in the next few weeks. Looking forward to it. But there's still more stuff for you guys to be voting on if you are a member. We've got some very, very big things to be voting on quite soon as well. So stay tuned for those. And if you're not, you need to be checking your emails because we send an email out every single week. There's also the members thing as well. Sayan says, is there a version for Android? The Android one's going to take a touch longer because that was the drama. Basically, the guy that was doing the Android version just fucking ghosted. And he had a lot of the payment gateway stuff that he was working on. Don't fully understand it, but he was a massive drama when he fucked off. So that's a problem. Rio to run the defensive shape at training. What, with United? I think Rio would love to be involved at United, to be honest. Ion says, just watching you before my exam at 2. You should be cramming, although it might be a bit too late, so fuck it. Matthew says, why do we think that there will be a big clear out, needing one for years and never happened? You're right, it hasn't really happened. It's difficult to do because of the wages that United players are on. United pay really good wages, so moving people on, you're not going to go to a club of a higher status. If the club wants to get rid of you, that doesn't happen anyway. And then the wages is a limiting factor in being able to get rid of you. So where are you going to go? Big issues with that. Sean says, if we're being quoted 70 to 80 million for Rice, why don't we just cough up the money for a Caicedo, for Mount, sorry. Why don't we just cough up the money for a Caicedo or a Rice? Well, if they want 100 mil plus for Rice, I just wouldn't be willing to entertain that. If it was 70 million, I probably would. Jake says, Steven Gerrard to Paddock, just bring a couch for him to join BT at half-time when he gets sacked. I wouldn't want Gerrard anywhere near us, to be honest. Raza says, can United supporters ask FA to look into Jim Radcliffe's bid to buy 50% on debt finances and keep the Glazers 500 million leverage buyout? Looks like we should be called Debt United. I don't want the debt. Simple. Don't want the debt. Would I flip Sancho? I wouldn't be surprised because I think he's got a high relative value. I don't know where he goes and I don't know who pays his wages. So, Lewis says, how long do I think this period of dominance with City will last for? Realistically, we need the Glazers to go ASAP so we can put up a fight. Don't know. It'd be interesting because I actually think that you probably need to be taking into account Newcastle. They won't go away. Liverpool won't go away. If United get took over and someone is serious, United will be right in the mix, and it might just happen like that. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think, but United do need to start making moves, otherwise it's going to really fuck up our plans for the summer. Charlie says, afternoon. Tell me your ideal striker if money was no option. Kane or Osimhen, really. I mean, there's a reason that it's not exactly an out-of-the-box thought. It's just that those are the ones that are most likely to be proven and deliver the goals. Theo says, don't get why instead of a Super League, they changed the top 4 to a top 6. What do you mean? By just letting 2 more teams in the Champions League? Because there's fucking too many games in it anyway, although they've already fucking upped that anyway. No. If anything, I'd like to see it reduced. I don't want more teams. I'd like less teams. MH says, we could make 150 mil from sales if we get rid of all of them. You could. Theoretically, I think 150 mil is achievable. It's ambitious, but it's achievable, I think. I think you could probably do it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you, guys, for tuning in, as always. Drop us a follow. Make sure to like the video. get any of your questions in. More content coming out a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.